Happy Independence Day on America's 250th. I'm Pensacola historian Joe Vinson. I've already talked about how the 1781 Battle of Pensacola played a major role in the American Revolution. The British defeat here in May, followed by another loss at Yorktown in October, was a devastating one-two punch for England. It demoralized citizens across the Atlantic and pressured the Crown to begin negotiations to end the war. We have Bernardo de Galvez to thank for that, and if you ever visit his home province of Malaga and visit the cathedral there, know that it's a little lopsided because the funds for that second bell tower were sent at his request to support the American effort. But today I'm here at the Dorothy Walton Cottage in Historic Pensacola Village, currently home to Simply Elegant, to recognize another Pensacola connection to the Revolution. See, Dorothy Camber Walton, a native of Georgia, was the wife of George Walton, an attorney who served in the Georgia Provincial Congress, represented Georgia in the Continental Congress, and was one of 3 Georgia signatories to the Declaration of Independence. He fought in the war, was injured in the Battle of Savannah, and taken prisoner. After his release, he briefly served as governor of Georgia, was re-elected to Congress, served as Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court, a member of the Augusta Board of Commissioners, negotiated various treaties and disputes, was a member of the State Constitutional Convention, governor again, during which time he moved the capital from Savannah to Augusta, Superior Court judge, and appointed to the U.S. Senate in 1795. Phew! All that by the time he was in his mid-40s, if you ever want to feel inadequate with your own accomplishments. Walton died in 1804. His son, George Jr., followed his father into the practice of law. When Florida was acquired from Spain and became a U.S. territory, President John Quincy Adams commissioned him to serve as territorial secretary based on the recommendation of Senator Freeman Walker. He accompanied General Andrew Jackson to Pensacola in 1821 for the transfer, and after Jackson left, he briefly served as acting territorial governor until William Duval arrived as his replacement. George Jr. was, I think it's fair to say, a Nepo baby who failed to meet the expectations of his legacy. Henry Brackenridge roasted him in correspondence, saying he was, quote, a wastrel, a despicable character who spent almost every night gambling and burning through his family fortune, leaving others to do all the work. Quote, no one has respect for him or confidence in him. Ouch. But he did care for his widowed mother, who accompanied him to Pensacola and stayed with him in a house located on West Romana Street. I should also mention George Jr.'s daughter, Octavia, who became a well-known socialite, the subject of romantic poetry by a young Edgar Allan Poe, and later friends with figures like Washington Irving, Daniel Webster, and Henry Clay. During the time Octavia lived in Pensacola, she helped her father translate Spanish and French correspondence into English. Some accounts claim that when the site for a new capital was selected halfway between Pensacola and St. Augustine, Octavia is the one who came up with the name Tallahassee based on Muskogean words she had picked up when Creeks led by Neamatla visited Pensacola. Dorothy Walton died in 1832 and is buried in St. Michael's Cemetery. Her grave is very near the intersection of Garden and Alcanis, so it would be really great if drivers would stop plowing their cars through the fence. The other Waltons moved to Mobile a few years later. Their old home survived the Civil War and was eventually purchased by T.T. Wentworth. The Daughters of the American Revolution erected a new memorial tablet at Dorothy's grave in 1929. In 1938, the Pensacola Historical Society opened a museum in the house, which closed around 1944 after the Municipal Advertising Board declined to purchase the property from Wentworth. Years later, in 1963, Wentworth got an offer to turn the land into a parking lot. He said the house would be torn down if nobody relocated it. Pretty ironic for the man nicknamed Pensacola's Mr. History, but not the biggest skeleton in his closet. So, to save it from demolition, the city of Pensacola paid to move the Walton house to its current location on East Zaragoza. The Pensacola Historic Preservation Society renovated the house and opened a new museum in 1968, dedicated, fittingly, on July 4th. This was a time when the Seville area became the epicenter of Pensacola's historic preservation movement. Today, the house is part of the UWF Historic Trust's Historic Pensacola Village, one of several historic buildings leased to private businesses. So that's just an interesting connection that we have to the 1776 Declaration of Independence. I hope everyone has a happy and safe 4th of July on this special anniversary. And as always, let me know in the comments what I should cover next. Thanks.